Today, as the Chicago Bulls head to Milwaukee to face off against the Bucks. Alex Caruso's already basically been ruled out in this game. Dame Lillard is a go, so we're going to talk about it, see how you guys feel, all that and more. But you know what we got to do first, right? We got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. We're here for a pregame show today as Chicago Bulls face off against the Milwaukee Bucks. And Dame is going to be playing today. He is on a minutes restriction, so we'll see what that means for the Chicago Bulls. Also, earlier in the day, we had this. The Bulls say that Alex Caruso continues to deal with the left toe strain and is unlikely going to play tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. So that was about 6 hours ago. We got that update. So Caruso is unlikely to play. Dame Lillard is a go with the minutes restriction. Take from that what you will. We'll get to see a big test from the Chicago Bulls tonight, right? Yeah, we're not at full power, especially missing a big piece of our rotation with Alex Caruso, but this is a good measuring stick game for the Chicago Bulls. The Milwaukee Bucks have been not playing amazingly, right? Dame has been hurt, things like that, but this is still a big test with the inter division rival on top of all of that as well. So, see how the core three can come in and play. See how the bench performs without Alex Caruso. Does Io step up again in another big night? Does Javon Carter step in a big night? Heck, does Patrick Williams step in a big night coming off the bench? Even though I have my video out today. What's the title of the video? Hold on. I was really proud of what I titled it. Why the potential of Patrick Williams doesn't even matter anymore. So y'all go check out that video if you haven't watched it yet on the channel. Definitely just kind of me working through my thoughts, right? And then we also have our daily, more formal video I dropped early this morning as well if you want that content on the channel. But this game, kind of some of the things I'm looking for in this game specifically. How does the core three play? Can the Chicago Bulls keep up? They are right now the fifth best team as far as causing turnovers per game, which is really good. They're forcing 16 turnovers per game. The highest in the league is 17. I can't remember the team that does the most. And then the Bulls are like second in points off turnovers per game as well. So that's where the Bulls can really make their bread and butter at. And against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks that are going through some offensive changes, Adrian Griffin's new offensive system, they're still adjusting to that as well. Maybe the Bulls can use their defensive brand to kind of take a advantage of that. So if the Bulls can do that, shoot the ball well and effectively also, it'll be an interesting game. We'll see how the Bulls stack up in this game, but let's see how you guys are feeling. Tay Holland says, Haize, I have a question. What's a really Tay, I'm gonna say this. That's a mailbag question. Get that voicemail in, leave it on the mailbag. I'll attack it because you know me. I'm really analytical, so that's something I'd want to sit down and like go over it. I don't just have it off the top of my head. I'm not one of those content creators who's just constantly talking about trades all the time, so don't always have it off the top of my head. But I promise you don't have to leave a voicemail if you don't want to call. You can text the voicemail line, leave that in. I'll get to work on that. It'll be on the mailbag this upcoming weekend, so make sure you get that in. By the way, for anybody who wants to know, who doesn't know how to get in their thoughts for the mailbag, the number to do so is right here, 773-270-2799. So if you have any kind of topics, any thoughts, anything you want to sound off on, you can either leave a text or you can call and leave a voicemail. I'll attack it in the mailbag if you do that. So, and I honor all voicemails, unless they're casual Kelder's voicemails, because some of his voicemails be trash, and I don't play all of them. But usually, if you leave a voicemail, it makes it on the show. So, also, I see Dame is playing, but his minutes will be monitored. But on another note, Jay Crowder is out 8 weeks, abductor strain, something like that. Yeah, Jay Crowder is out. And it really sucks because Jay Crowder was really playing well for them. Not like amazing, jump out the stat sheet, anything, but he was playing solid for them, and they need defenders on that team. OTR says, yo, what up, Haize? What's going on, brother? Glad to have you in the building. Coolest JB says this will be a game that shows us what they're really about. I wouldn't say that just because Caruso's out, right? So let's see with that, but it will be a big thing to show how this team stands up, and especially Hart, right? Hart is going to be really needed in a game like this against the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's see what that means. Marcus Korn says, go Bulls. What up, Marcus? Glad to have you in the building. Jay Lee says, hey, Haize, this is not a Bulls related, but I want your thoughts on Draymond Green ejection a few nights ago. I mean, I don't care. It's not a I really don't care. I don't. Like Dre is going Dre, and then that's what the way I look at it. What's up, Haize? Rocking white Bulls gear again. Well, it worked last night. No, this isn't white. This is actually cream. It's cream, black, and pink. So, not white. This is cream. This is actually cream. So, let's get that together. What's up, everybody? Working from home today, which means not working much at all. Let's go Bulls. That's funny. Glad that you'll be home to catch a game. Game day. Let's go Bulls. Absolutely. That's from Anthony Vargas. What's good, little bro? Great take on P Dub. I sent you a message. Can't wait to hear your reaction. Oh, well, thank you for leaving a voicemail. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll see if the voicemail back usually gets really backed up, which with the video I dropped on P Dub, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of voicemails come in. I'll start playing some of them before the mailbag. Mailbag days are usually Saturdays and Sundays. But if we get a lot of voicemails in where I think I won't be able to get to it on Saturday and Sunday, I'll start playing them on the regular daily episodes as well. What's up, Haize? Still rocking with your brother. What's going on, Cordell98? Glad to have you in the building as always, fam. By the way, y'all see the CHGOs try to start doing pregame shows now? Tell them they know. Now, come on now. We know who started this pregame shit. Hey, come on. Let's be real here, CHGO, Matt and Big Dave. I love you guys, but we all know the pregame market is locked down. Thank you very much. We will take that. Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, hey, they really got some nerve that having a damn pregame show. They got one scheduled today too. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? I'm gonna stay on just to kill their pregame. No, I'm just playing. Listen, there's more than enough to go around for everybody. Terry Silverhand says, "Can we get a revenge game from Javon Carter, or do revenge games only happen against us?" I mean, that's actually a great point. It's not really a revenge game for Javon, right? They played him. He played a really good role on that team, but he was a role player for that team. He came here and got more money and had a bigger role. Well, theoretically, he's actually kind of playing a similar role. Quentin from Let's Talk Bulls says, Milwaukee has been slacking on defense lately. The Bulls need to attack them out the gate. Hey, listen, points in the paint can be a big thing for the Chicago Bulls as well. They really started attacking the rim last night as well. So let's see if they do that. Kyrie just posted on his IG story, viewer discretion is advised, with nothing to follow up. Okay. Why are we getting Kawhi updates? I mean, Kyrie updates. Game day squad shit. What's going on, YNG? Glad to have you in the building. Dario says, great video about P. Hey, listen, I just had to come from the heart, man. That's all it is. Nothing for me is narrative based. Even in that video, I still said, yeah, technically he still has potential. But at this point, where I sit with P. Will is you're gonna have to show me. Right? That's just where I sit with P. Will. I am no longer gonna be saying and defending, oh, well, he's only 22. Oh, he's only gotten 10 shots per game. Oh, well, we got the player development staff. All those things are still true, and I realize they're still true. But at this point, P. Will is going to have to show me before I believe it, and that's just where I stand at it right now. Zach, 40 points. Hey, let's hope so, Anthony. Well, here's the thing. I don't care how many points Zach scores. Just get a dub. Let's get some momentum going early. No shitty starts, please, for once. Hey, let's hope so. Let's hope so. I tried to leave a voicemail. It was trash. LO, my son was in the back. I lost my train of thought. Hey, I feel you on that. That's what I said. You can send it in a text message. I prefer voicemails because I like getting your guys' voice on the show. But if you have to send it in a text message, please do that as well. And that's fine, too. It just gives me some time to kind of formulate my thoughts basically because I want to respond to everybody's question with the best version of what I can do, right? So I want to be able to have time to really attack it and give you a thorough thought out answer on things. OTR says 1 a.m. over here. Being a British Bulls fan is difficult. Hey, you may not know this about me, OTR. So I grew up large part of my life, about half my childhood, right? Grew up in Germany and Italy, Mannheim, Germany, and Vicenza, Italy. So like watching sports over there during that, it got rough. It got rough. So I really commend you for it, man. I feel like Zach gets the ball stripped very, very often when driving to the paint this season and throughout his career. Yes, we call it the Zach LaVine special here, Creeley. It happens, especially in the fourth quarters. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Meatballs quote. I'm glad somebody picked up on that, right? Haize, I'm not trying to be negative Nancy. I really hope they win this game. I have a feeling they won't, but boy, I really need our Bulls to put this together. I wish Alex was playing. I mean, listen, you have the right to have doubt. This team has played bad enough to where any doubt right now is warranted, right? So it is what it is. David says, I have to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch this in Ireland. That sucks, man. Hopefully they get a dub for that. Is Caruso playing tonight? No. Well, Caruso was listed as doubtful. So I read a tweet. Something came out around 6 hours ago that said he's very unlikely to play today because he's still dealing with some soreness. So don't expect to see Alex Caruso out there today. D-Dub says, yo, Haize, great video on P. Will. We just have to accept that he is what he is after 3 years. For now, he's just an average rotation player, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And that's the thing that sucks about it, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I know some people are like, well, he's a bust. He's going to be out the NBA, throw him away. It's like, no, even with what P. Will is, there's a role on the back end of the bench for him. It sucks that that's what you is getting out of a 4th overall pick, but P. Will be in the league for a while. At 22 years old, P. Will's still going to be in the league for quite a long time. But it's just like I said it coming into the season. We talked about it so much. A lot of content creators coming into the season, for the Bulls to really raise their ceiling, you had to see a step to a leap from a lot of these young players. Kobe seems like he's making that step, right? We'll see if it ends up being elite by the end of the season. But P. Will, a net nothing, right? I'd say Ayo Dosunmu looks like he's making a step as well, right? And that may be just because of his comfortability coming off the bench. But Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, net nothings for the most part, right? So we'll see what ends up happening, man. Why is it that everyone wants to come back on us? Bradley Bill, now Dame, shaking my head. Hey, the Bulls are looked at as that game. You can get in rhythm against the Chicago Bulls, right? At least you got heart, unlike passive P. That is hilarious. That's funny. Knowing the Bulls will attack the paint until they get a lead, and then they will just stop driving altogether and stop moving without the ball, right, brother? It's funny. Haize, this is a serious question. Are we delusional as Bulls fans? For the last few years, we celebrate being a 500 team. What are your thoughts? Hell, we haven't even been a 500 team. So that's that. There's that, right? I think here's the thing, right? The Bulls, where we were before AK came in, we were in the fucking pits of hell, right? And then he comes in, he trades for Vooch. Keep in mind, that team was on pace to make the playoffs until Zach LaVine went down with COVID, and he missed the last 2 weeks of the season with COVID. It was when they were really harsh on the restrictions. He couldn't get cleared to come back. But before then, the Bulls were on pace to make the playoffs the first year they traded for Vooch, which is why they felt comfortable giving up 2 first-round picks, because that first pick they theoretically would have kept because it was lottery protected. Didn't happen. Zach went down. It is what it is. You then bring in DeMar, you bring in Alonzo, you bring in Alex Caruso, right? You bring some things into your bench, things like that. That team throughout the first 35 games of the season was the number 1 team in the East in and out of that. So, that was something to celebrate, because that was the first time in a while we really felt like we had something. Lonzo goes down with injury. Zach goes down with injury in the same game, and we've never been the same since then. So I think at the end of the day, we want to see a team compete, right? And we deserve to see a team compete. But with the way that things shook out, we ended up in basically the same spot we would have been in had AK just stayed the course. And you could have still signed Lonzo Ball, right? Could have added him to a young core. Laurie probably would have been gone anyway at that point in time. It is what it is there. But, at the end of the day, it's all clear. Something has to change. It's just, will AK change it, right? That's one of the biggest questions here. Spicy Butter says, if you look at the Bulls all over, you'll notice that we actually can ball, but our play call style is what holds us back. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a big part. We have talent on this team, right? We do. It's not always utilized correctly, but we do have talent on this team. Let's get this W. Bang, bang, bang. Shout out to you for the bang, bang, bang. It's some like P. Will do not believe in himself, but I am almost done with him. I can't blame anybody who's almost done with it. And like I said, even in that video, right? I know a lot of people who aren't going to actually watch the video or comprehend it are going to think that was a video for me to bash on P. Will. It's not. It's just to simply say this. I'm not out on P. Will yet, but it's to say I'm not back in all the way either. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed. That's what it comes down to. And he has to show me for me to get excited again about the potential that P. Will has always had there. He's going to have to show me. It can't just be potential any further. You're going to have to show me. And that's just is what it is at this point, man. And hopefully he can do it. Hopefully, I'm not. I'm not. It's always weird for me when people root against somebody on their team just so they can be right. So I'm not rooting against P. Will by any stretch of the imagination. But it's just that you gotta show me, bro. That's just it. You gotta show me. And I hope, and I said it in the video. I hope 6 months from now I'm on this show and I'm like, hey, that video I dropped on P. Will was stupid, but I didn't know what was coming. P. Will has been balling. I wish and hope and pray that that's how this story ends. But right now, you got to show me, bro. You got to show me. I thought that Levine special was the ball off the foot. It's evolved. So the Levine special was initially the ball off the foot, but now it's kind of evolved into just Levine just turning the ball over. It's just it's because it's bad. It's just bad all the way around, man. Haize, if the Bulls got wiped off the map, which other NBA team would you cheer? Oh, bro, I've been a Bulls fan my whole life. That's not even a question that I can answer. I'm honestly not trying to dodge your question because I've like being a Bulls fan has legitimately been my whole entire life. Like my whole life. I've never rooted for another NBA team as far as being a diehard fan. I've had teams where I like watching, right? Like that first Warriors team. I really did like watching that team for the first couple of years of that. I was a big fan of Baron Davis for a long time. So almost any team Baron Davis was on, I try to watch. But I've never really like rooted for a team like I have. I've always had other teams like, oh, bet if they're on, I watch them. So I have no idea, bro. I don't even know. My brain can't even fathom thinking about life without the Chicago Bulls. Haize, I left the mailbag for the first time. Shout out to you, Ammo. Good for leaving it, man. We definitely get to it, bro. Take a shot every time P. Will grabs a rebound. It's going to be a sober night. That's hilarious. That's funny. Darn it, AC may not be getting that defensive player of the year award. Well, keep in mind, like I said before, when that topic came up, for AC to win defensive player of the year, it would mean that this team has to have a winning record. To my knowledge, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think in the last 10 years, a defensive player of the year award has gone to a team below 500. So it's not about his skill. I'm not even worried about his skill. I'm worried about the team's success because that definitely plays a part in it. Haize lived in Schweinfurt in Würzburg, Germany, for 4 years in the late 90s. Rough when it comes to keeping up with the Chicago sports. Yeah, I mean, so we were there as well. So I was there initially I was a baby then. I don't really remember it then, so I'm not going to act like it. And then we moved back there in 99, I think. And so we were there for a while. And then we went to Vincenza, Italy. So, yeah, a large part of my life. BFV, Mannheim, Germany is where I lived, and that base is now shut down. So OTR says, got something I want to say about Bull Central. Bro is D1 Levine hater. He blames Zach for not going for a loose ball when Io and Pat literally walked past the ball, expecting someone else to get it. Listen, you're not going to get any Jamal slander out of me. I respect so much what Jamal's done, what he continues to build. That doesn't mean I always agree with him, just like I don't always agree with anybody. So, I mean, everybody has their own take. Everybody has their own biases, right? I have it. Like I have my own biases. Like I don't hide from that. So it is what it is there, right? We got to ask ourselves, does Patrick love basketball or is he just good at basketball? Well, he's not good at basketball. From what we've seen, he's not good at basketball. But I don't know if you got a chance to see the video, Ricky. Go check it out if you haven't. I basically poised a very similar question. Like, he got to want it. I don't know if Patrick Williams cares about playing basketball. I don't know if he cares about being great. That's the thing. I don't know if he cares. The Chicago Bulls are going to pull off a major win tonight. I don't want to hear anyone jumping on the bandwagon. Keep the same energy. What this generation say, living your truth, can't wait. That's from a young Black Wall Street. That's funny. That's funny. Jack is not showing leadership and is the clear most talented player. He needs to step up. Yeah, definitely. Right. That's why I said ultimately in my lead up to the season, like it wasn't about a points total for Zach LaVine or anything like that. It was seeing Zach step up in the most important moments. And we haven't really seen that yet. So let's hope that we start seeing it. Feels good being a Bulls fan in Australia. Always gets game between 7 a.m. to 1 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Oh, really? Listen, shout out to you on that one. You said you don't think they will blow it up. Do you think they will that we make moves this offseason instead. I mean, I think moves are coming regardless. You can make moves without blowing it all up. I'm not saying I don't think they make a move at the deadline. When I look at blow it all up, I mean, you just start trading off assets, you trade it off, and you basically reset the stage. I think that a major retooling may be coming. How successful they'll be in that is the question. So we'll see. I'm worried about Brooke Lopez, Giannis, who, hey, listen, no, you still need to worry about that guy, Giannis. Still need to worry about him. Hayes, finally, we don't have to see stupid Grayson Allen in the Bucks jersey anymore. I think we need Zach and DeMar to combine for at least 60 tonight. Going to need Io to help out again, too. Oh, yeah, for sure, right? The bench is always going to be important to what the Bulls do. Zach and DeMar being on the same page and scoring well, along with Nikola Vucevic, is always going to help the Bulls be put in the right position. They just have to do it consistently as well. Let's hope that we see that from this team. I really can't believe y'all really throwing the towel on Patrick Williams when it took Zach LaVine going to another team to find his niche along with Laurie, who got traded. Okay, and I always have to break down with Shea because Shea is very much a forget history thing. Let's talk about Zach LaVine got traded to the Chicago Bulls after tearing his ACL in his second or third year. And keep in mind, even before then, through Zach LaVine's first 3 years in the league, he averages 10.1 points per game, 14 points per game, and then in the final season when he tore his ACL, 18.9 points per game on 46% shooting. Yes, he continued to develop himself, but the flashes were there. Let's talk about Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen, when he was on the Chicago Bulls, had seasons of averaging over 18 points per game. Right? So it's not the one for one. We got to stop making blanket comparisons without realizing the situations are different. Lauri, throughout his first 4 years in Chicago, 15 points per game and 7 rebounds, basically 19 points per game and 9 rebounds. Then he dropped down, played 50 games to 14 points per game and 6 rebounds, and then still another 14 points per game. Lauri Markkanen's worst years as a Chicago Bull is head and shoulders above Patrick Williams' best. So what the fuck does Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine and what they showed in their early career got to do with Patrick Williams? Not a goddamn thing, Shay. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? No sense. Let's talk Bulls. Says definitely think re-signing Pat is the right decision. Only if you're prepared to make roster decisions. Like he won't be an all-star going forward. Facts, right? Like I'm not saying that we're just at the point where you just dump Patrick Williams. No, you don't do that. For any 22-year-old player, you don't just dump him, especially his value is going to be low. So you don't just do that. Now, I do think that you cannot continue to plan on him being a big part. You got to let him show you, right? So where the Chicago Bulls have gone out and signed players that can play power forward and Torrey Craig, we've had Javonte Green, things like that. I would say this offseason, regardless whether it's in the draft or whether, they think of Julian Phillips or somebody can step in, they have to find a starting level power forward, period, and let Patrick Williams show them. That's what I think. YNG says, see, I'm not with P. Will because he never seemed to have the potential people thought he had. Just seemed like a decent player, and even that's a stretch. But no, the potential's there, right? We've seen the potential with P. Will. We've seen the 30-8 games that he drops when he has the ball going through him, things like that. But those are glimpses, right? Those are very, very small flashes. So the potential's there. But like I always say all the time, potential isn't always realized. So just because you have the potential to be something, that just means you have the ability to maybe get there. The for sure thing is you can't bet on that from P. Will night in and night out. So it is what it is there. I didn't take your video on P. Will as negative. There's a lot of grade between a breakout star and a bust. P. Will didn't draft himself fourth, so it's smart to remove the expectations as a fan. And that's all it is. That's all it is. I just have no more expectations around P. Will. He got to show me. And whatever he shows me, I'll believe. But you got to show me it consistently, right? Anyway, you can put a link in the chat for the live call. For some reason, I only get the pregame. I don't do a live call, brother. So you don't get a live call for me. That's why I do pregame shows, I do halftime hangouts, and then I do a live post-game show. But I don't do live calls. Not my skill set. I'm not good at it. Haize needs to call the Bulls game home and away live, though. Oh no, that's not my skill set. Not at all. The Cognac Boys have an amazing live call. Go out to the Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. C-Dub, they always hold it down. Me, live call is not my skill set. Lil bro, the inside-out style has been successful. Billy Dumbly would look at the tape. Yeah, I mean, but listen, Billy Donovan is Billy Donovan. That's all I can say. Hey, Haize, long time no see. Shout out to Sebastian. Love the video about Pat. I was just telling my brother the same thing yesterday after watching Asar Thompson play. Done rewarding flashes as a fourth-year player. That's it. That's it. Not to make any excuse for Zach LaVine, but some people aren't really vocal leaders like that. Anybody remembers Derrick Rose, era Joe Kim was more of a leader than he was vocally? Yeah, absolutely. Right. Derrick Rose was I'm going to lead by example on the court. But if you're talking about vocal leaders, no, that was Joe Kim Noah, Luau Dane to a lesser degree as well. I think Taj eventually rotated into that role also. But yeah, DeMar on Paul George's podcast talking about a lot of sorry motherfuckers in the league who don't want to put in the work and but want the benefits. He was talking about people. No, he wasn't talking. The thing is, and that's the thing, people like to think because you don't see the results on the court that P. Will isn't working. No, I can attest to this. P. Will works in the offseason. But like I always say, there are kids in school that can study every single day. And the best they can do is a C minus. The best. They can study every single day from sun up to sundown, and that's the best they can do. There are some people who can not study much at all, like I was in school, and still get A's, right? And P. Will is somebody who, again, until the mindset, he can do all the work in the offseason he wants. The result on the court is still going to be a C minus, D plus until he unlocks what's in between his ears. So Zach is going to be fine. The coach calls the Debo dumb ISOs. Yeah, that's a fact on that one. Bulls for Life says, what's good, bro, from the land up north? What's going on, fam? Glad to have you in the building as well. The season isn't over yet, but I'm looking forward. The Los Angeles Clippers will probably blow it up. Would you add Paul George to replace DeMar, possibly Klay Thompson? Listen, the Warriors probably are not letting go of Klay Thompson, and DeMar's contract doesn't work with that. Now, let's say that the Bulls were able to build a trade around DeMar DeRozan to get Paul George, right? Let me look at Paul George's contract real quick. I don't know the details off the top of my head. Paul George right now, no. Paul George's salary this season is $45 million per year. There's no way that the Bulls put together the assets to match that for a 33-year-old player. I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong, but I don't know on that one. Yes, Dame is playing. He's on a minutes restriction, but he will be playing today. This is another thing that like there's a lot of bench. Zach LaVine was a bench player in college. Scotty Barnes was a bench player in college. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Chauncey Billups was also a bench player in college, but maybe that was just his first year in college. So being a bench player in college has nothing to fucking do with the NBA. There are bench players in college that turn into NBA starters. That's not a rarity. So that just using that he was a bench player in college, so don't expect much from him, doesn't mean anything. You have to look at the program he was in. There's the program that he was in, the school that he was in is a lot of players on the bench there that still have tons of talent. So that's not really a thing that I can knock on him. The bench player in college thing don't really hit for me because there are other bench players in college who still turn out to pretty solid players. The reason why I brought this up is because maybe he might just be a late bloomer. Probably he has to be put in a different type of system where he can flourish. That's just where I'm at. No, I mean, I definitely think that he could be a late bloomer, right? But I just think the comparisons that you use weren't really valid to what he's going on. So Haize, I need the Bulls to go after Dame on both ends of the court. Middleton has knee issues and has not been playing well. Also, Brook Lopez looks like Father Time came to pay him a visit. Go Bulls! Hey, let's hope. Let's hope. Brook Lopez is giving Vooch some work these last couple of years, though. Reginald Short says it takes 3 to 4 years for a center to develop. So I say draft a center this year to eventually replace Vooch. Also give Andre a 2 to 3 year extension. I think we're starting to see that it doesn't necessarily take centers 2 or 3 years, right? Look at what Jalen Duren's doing, right? Look at what Derek Lively's doing. Is it amazing? No, but they're able to contribute right away. So I don't know if it always takes 3 to 4 years. It depends on the style of center and what you need from him, right? Like Jalen Duren, they don't necessarily need him to score a lot or be a back to the basket scorer. So, but I definitely agree with you. The Bulls do probably need to look at what they're going to do with the future of their center position. They need to really start looking at that. So, Let's see what we got here. Can you imagine if Ant and P will swap personalities, my lord? Listen, if Patrick Williams had, I always say Ben Mathurin. If Patrick Williams even had the mindset of Ben Mathurin, we're talking about a completely different player at that point in time. Completely different. So, hey, woulda, coulda, shoulda in that case, I guess. By the way, what you guys think of the thumbnail on this video? I try to get a little more creative with it. I'm happy with it, but I still feel like it's missing something. I'm still trying to find the thumbnail style for these pregame shows. I like the way that it's coming. I'm going to crack it at some point, but I like the way that it's coming together. By the way, I still think we should have signed Westbrook just as a passer, great help defender, and his leadership could have helped out this team immensely. And the familiarity with Billy Donovan. One thing that we've seen from Billy Donovan is that if you have a point guard that believes in his system, he's going to get the best out of it. Lonzo did that, right? Lonzo did that. Chris Paul did that. Russell Westbrook did that. Patrick Beverley did that, right? So if you have a point guard that really believes in Billy Donovan's system, it helps the team execute that system better and look better than what it is just with Billy Donovan's system alone. So I can understand the merits to that. Now, I think that last year we went after Patrick Beverley because of specifically what he brought also on the defensive end, a little bit better of a defender there. But I can't knock your logic behind that. Can't knock your logic behind that at all. Tehala says, Haize, that P-Will video was so funny, but true. You spoke all facts. Listen, that's all I'm here to do, man. That's all I'm here to do. I'm literally just here to speak my truth and to try to evaluate. And one thing I feel like I'm good at, you guys can let me know if I'm wrong or not in this. I feel like I've gotten really good at presenting the facts, right? The objective facts of things. And then I state what my opinion and how I interpret those facts. And then I want to hear from you guys. I always turn it over. That's why I end everything with saying what I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So I think that's the way I always try to deliver content, is the objective facts, the objective truth. These are the numbers. This is the data. This is what happened. Now this is what I think. And then let's fall somewhere between that and meet and agree and have a conversation. So we got a Prince in the building. Says, Haize, I have two phones, so I give you thumbs up twice, my brother. I need Zach and DeMar to come out on fire. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely want to see them come out with that heat, and I want to see them come out and just play well. We should have the starting lineups now. For the first time in a while, the Chicago Bulls do not have the starting lineup out there. So that's crazy. Well, yeah, that's a little wild that the Bulls don't have the starting lineup 30 minutes before game time. It's usually something you could bet on easily. So that's a little weird. That social media team's falling a little bit behind there. Devin Booker was a bench player in college. There you go. There you go. Ricky always knows those little facts there as well. Look how much faster P-Will shot is this year versus last year. I think that's why he's missing so much. I mean, that could be, right? When you change your shot mechanics, it kind of just takes a while for you to feel natural with that shot mechanic. So maybe you're on. Maybe we do see P-Will get back to being the 42% 3-point shooter, or whatever he was last season. The bench looks like they have committed to Billy's game plan. The starters seem to still not follow that identity. Yeah, and I think it's because like the bench unit also fits together. Like you see the fit there better, right? Like I always say, you have Kobe, DeMar, and Vooch, who all like starting their offense from the same position, right? You got Vooch, who likes starting it from the elbow. He likes to do that on post and dives, things like that to get to the rim, but he starts it off from that mid-range. DeMar likes shooting in the mid-range. Kobe is starting to really define his niche operating in the mid-range. So when you have that, it's kind of harder to fit with that system. So I said it before that Pat could be the next Marvin Williams. They had a lottery pick. They didn't reach their potential, but had a long career. Listen, there's definitely something to say with that one. Definitely agree on that one as well. So yeah, I mean, listen, we'll see what the story ends up being on Patrick Williams. Like I said, I'm not in the place where I think that he can't turn it around. It's just that I'm at the point to where until he shows me, I ain't got shit to say. You gotta show me. You gotta show me. So let's hope that P-Will can start showing it, right? You must not know me if you think that that's gonna help me. Thumbnails don't need to be perfect. Everything needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be perfect. I've been watching a lot of NBA games. The Clippers look like a horror show. Russ should start and Harden should come off the bench. I would have liked Russ to join the Bulls also. A lot of people really would have liked that. A lot of people really would like to see that. Ammo says the P. Will video was realistic, something this franchise needs. Listen, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Hey, just taking a stroll down memory lane, but how good was Amir Ashik? He practically disappeared after he left Chicago. No, I mean, he had that one, his first year in Houston, he was really good too. But Amir Ashik was really good when he was here with the Bulls. I think he started having injury concerns, but and that goes to show that sometimes players are just best off the bench, because Amir Ashik, when he was coming off the bench for the Bulls, he looked like a player that I understand why Houston said, hey, he can be our starting center. But then you started seeing that, he just didn't have it. But Amir Sheik, when he was here, he brought offense, he brought defense, he brought some rim protection. The pick and roll, he got better at, I think, in his second year than his first year. But Sheik was really good when he was here. But it also was the sum of the parts. That whole bench unit just really operated well together. Hey, did you see the trash ass trade that FanDuel put out between the Bulls and Los Angeles Lakers for Zach and Caruso? Yes, I did. And that goes to show that the media is always trying to get, for some reason, the Lakers to be great again. And it's crazy. They were pushed out and present these fucking whack ass trades to try to get the Lakers to be great. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you think that Pat would have produced more if Zoe was still healthy? I noticed he used to get him easy lobs, and he made players at the power forward spot look better all throughout his career. Well, him and Pat never really got to play a lot together, and I think that it definitely could have been something, right? I think that, look at how Zoe really developed that pick and roll with Derrick Jones Jr. Now, the one thing is Derrick Jones Jr., again, has a very different mindset than P. Will. So, that plays a part into it, but, we'll see. We'll see. P. Will playing like that because DeRozan is playing his position, playing his minutes, and taking some of the shot attempts that if P. Will was a starter. Here's what I'm going to fight back on you with that. It's not just about scoring, though. You should be, and the way that Billy Donovan uses a power forward isn't that much different than how a small forward is used. So it's not just about the scoring. I get that. And that's a very valid point to say that he would get more shots and maybe he'd be more in rhythm. But the fact of the matter is P. Will disappears in every aspect of the game. I've said this before. If you can only be a player that can be productive if nobody else is good on your team and you're just getting all the shots, that's an empty stat guy. So I don't want that. You got to find a way to carve out your role. And to me, it doesn't stop P. Will from being Pat. It doesn't matter if you play Patrick Williams at the power forward, the small forward, or you play him as baby Jesus. If he's not going to be aggressive and go after it in some shape, form, or fashion, there's nothing that leads me to believe it's going to come out regardless of position change. Because listen, other than scoring, there's still 15 other things you can do out there on the court to help your team win. And there are times we just don't even realize Patrick Williams out on the court. That doesn't just change because he's playing small forward. It doesn't change that. That doesn't mean that he's going to fight after loose balls more. That doesn't mean that he's going to play better defense, which his defense is starting to slide too, which was the one thing he can hang his hat on. That doesn't mean that he's going to not be a player that passes up shots, right? That doesn't change just by going to the small forward position, at least not in my opinion. I love to see what the game plan they give Shea for Kobe White. Shea gets the elbow and gets pick and rolls off of it. Would benefit Kobe's mid-range and give him more space for Vooch. Yeah, but the thing that's difficult about that is you have a player that basically only operates in the mid-range, and so that makes that a little difficult too. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I want to say that 100%, and this isn't me saying everything's DeMar DeRozan's fault either, but it's what the makeup of this team is. So, yeah. Let's see what Jack Allen says. Can I disagree with Pat the designer on the November 11th episode, which was 2 days ago? He was saying how Zach is playing to set himself up for his next team, not word for word, but in the sense that's what he said. Did he say that? That must have went way over my head. All right. And I love Pat. That's my brother. Me and Pat are always going to do Locked on Bulls together. But I don't even remember Pat the designer saying that. I'm going to be honest with you. Amir Sheik was good before Dwight got there. That's another good point. That's another good point. Did Ronnie Brewer have a good career after he left Chicago? I don't think he did. I honestly think out of that bench unit, the bench mob, the only one that had a good career after they left Chicago, I think was Kyle Korver. Watson didn't really do much after that. I think he had one solid season. Can't remember the team he went to. Ronnie Brewer, I can't remember him doing much of anything after he left. Kurt Thomas retired. Amir went to Houston. He had a solid year there in Houston. But overall, that bench mob, Taj, of course, because he stayed here for so long. But out of the players that left, I think Kyle Korver probably did the best out of all those players, if I'm not mistaken. Starters, the same exact starters as we expected. Kobe, Zach, DeMar, Torrey Craig, and Nikola Vucevic. There you guys go on that one. Rick A says when the Sheik left the Bulls for the Rockets, he was the same exact player. The difference was it was great paying him league minimum for us, and it was bad making all that money in Houston. Facts. Vaughn in the building says, can't give Pat these excuses no more. Look at Caruso, for example. He's not known as a scorer, but definitely takes his open spots more than ever and impacts the game in many ways, no matter starting or not. Great point there. Great point. BO just says Kyle Korver and Taj Gibson both had great careers after the bench mob. Yeah, Taj moved into the starting power forward, which was really good for him. Really good for him. Who's the odds-on favorite tonight to get blasted into the crowd by Giannis? Got to be Kobe White, no Cruz. That is hilarious. Let's hope that nobody is. Like, that's crazy. You talking about Giannis blasting people. That's a pause. Archangel, what you doing out here, man? What you doing? Call the manager. It was weird hearing the announcers calling Kurt Thomas Big Sexy as a nickname. It's as bad as calling another man Delicious in public as a nickname. Shout out if you know this. Well, Kurt Thomas's nickname was always Big Sexy, though. It was always Big Sexy. So, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, I come from wrestling background. We call Kevin Nash Big Sexy. So it is what it is, man. That's not a big deal for me. Yo, Haize, true GOAT Haize, the GOAT of hairlines. Is funny. Shout out to you, TBO. Glad to have you in the building, brother. Would like to see Io and Javon get more minutes this game just because I don't trust Kobe to guard Dame. Listen, well, Dame's on a minutes restriction. Let's see. But I understand where you're coming from with that one for sure. Io is closing the offensive gap between him and P. Will. I'm still not sure who's better on-ball defender. This season, I'd have to say Io. I think Io's been better this year. P. Will lost his job 5 games into the season. He do not care. That is funny. Cornelius Smith in the building. Listen, Cornelius is one of the perfect examples, and this is why I always say this. You don't have to agree to understand. Me and Cornelius disagree probably more than we agree, but I always understand his points, and he always brings valid points as far as like the way that he thinks things through. But he says this, what's good, Haize, blessing skins? What's good, Cornelius? Glad to have you in the building here towards the end of this stream, brother. Bobby Portis was the perfect replacement for Dodge, but we've would have been better if they played on the same team. Listen, Bobby Portis is still one of the players that I do regret that front office didn't keep. I know that they made him the offer. He declined the offer. They didn't want to risk getting into a back and forth, so they went ahead and traded him. But, man, look at what Bobby's turned into, man. Look at what Bobby's turned into. Surely, Pat, that was overstated. I don't believe that Patrick Williams really thought he was going to get $200 million. I just, like, from what I've seen and known about Pat, he seems like a very level-headed person. I can't imagine Pat sitting there saying, yeah, I'm worth $200 million. So. But all right, guys. We got some more questions coming in. Let's see what else we got here. Didn't Bobby Portis get the same amount of money that he was offered a couple years ago after turning down the original deal? Yeah, but it took him 3 years after getting offered that deal to get that same money. So yeah, I mean, it sucks, man. It sucks. If the Bulls lose tonight, then I blame the jizz whistle Billy. Whoa, okay, that jizz whistle. Why you got to be a jizz whistle? One thing, I need the Bulls to let the Rook play. They'll kill they will kill his potential. Listen, we've seen it before, right? Like, look at Jimmy. Jimmy didn't play a lot his rookie year. You don't have to play your rookie year for it to not kill your potential. But I will say this: I definitely, especially if people keep struggling, I would like to see Julian get an opportunity out there. We need ball movement tonight and cutting and slashing. We stand on the 3-point line, passing the ball. Completely agree with you on that one, bro. Completely agree with you. But all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. Hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So make sure you guys, by the end of the season, not the year. There's no way that's happening in a little over 45 days. But by the end of the season, so make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Double check that you're subscribed. A lot of people think they're subscribed because I post so much. I'm always in their algorithm, but double check that out. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to another pregame show. We'll be back at halftime. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.